One of the commonly asked questions about the relationship between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, for judgment, and Yom Kippur is a day of forgiveness. So wouldn't it make more sense that we should first have Yom Kippur and then Rosh Hashanah? Like, why should you be judged, right, while before you fixed yourself up? Right, it should be the other way around. Let's have a chance to do tshuva and fix yourself up and go through Yom Kippur and then be judged. Right, that's one thing that needs an explanation. Another thing needs an explanation. It's not for the Torah Shabbal Peh, not for the sugya in the Seches Rosh Hashanah and the drasha that it makes. You wouldn't know that Rosh Hashanah is a day of judgment. It's nowhere in the Chumash. Chazal learn out of a drasha. How could something so important like you're being judged on this day, right? And everything hangs in balance? How could that not be in the Chumash? It's part of Torah Shabbal Peh. Interesting thing is that the Rambam follows the same pattern. In Hilchot Shofar, he talks about all the laws of Shofar. He doesn't mention anything about the din on Rosh Hashanah. Where does Ram talk about the din on Rosh Hashanah? In Hilchos Tshuva. The Ram followed the pattern of the Torah that it talks about the halachos of Rosh Hashanah. He doesn't mention Yom Adin. Right? Talks about Tshuva, so he mentions also, and you're judged on Rosh Hashanah. As if, the aspect that Rosh Hashanah is a Yom Adin is hidden. Truth is, to understand ourselves, is Rosh Hashanah a happy day? Is Rosh Hashanah a sad day? Right? Even the Nusach Tefillah itself, right? You're being judged on this day. You should be begging for mercy. And it's not. In the Nusach Tefillah, there's nothing about begging for mercy. Right? That's all on Yom Kippur, even though the Day of Judgment is not Yom Kippur. The Day of Judgment is Rosh Hashanah. That's when you're on trial. As if all the fear and all the wanting to say, I'm sorry, is all in the heart. So you can't see it anywhere on the body or in the words. Just opposite Chazal say, the Torah brings it, la'alacha. It's a very strange thing. A guy goes on trial, so already for days before, he knows he's on trial, he doesn't sleep, he can't take a shower, and he goes into court like a wreck, because he's on nerve's end already. For days before, he goes into court a mess, and cries, so it's not that way. Even though going on trial, you go and you wash, and Chazal say it's an Indian, take a haircut, it's a shave. You go into Rosh Hashanah, prim. And the Torah brings it la'alacha. On the Day of Judgment, we should be shaking our boots, and we should go in there, and we go in there, and afterwards, come and read a Suda and the whole thing. Just doesn't reflect, the gravity of the din. And the poskim have a discussion where it's even mutzah to cry in Rosh Hashanah. They bring a pasuk in Nehemiah that Nehemiah told the people not to be sad on Rosh Hashanah. So the Shloah Kodesh, he brings from the Ariyah Kodesh, right, that an interesting duality. And he says like this, that on the surface, so it's a Yom Tif, and you act like Yom Tif, and you eat, and you drink, and you dress up, right? The thoughts of tshuva and the thoughts of regret, right? You think that. You don't say that. It's in the heart. It's not on the body. It's not on the lips. It's all in the mind. When? During the blowing of the shofar. So you don't cry, says the Shla, as part of the prayer, but you could cry. And you do feel thoughts, during the blowing of the shofar. Like all the feelings of din, they're there with the blowing of the shofar. They're not part of the tefillah. They're not part of anything that could be seen. I have to understand this. There's a very interesting Lashon in Medrash Rabbah and Parshas Emor. These are the Midrashim on the pasuk of Rosh Hashanah. So the Medrash says like this: Parsha Chavtes Ois Vav. Omlem HaKadosh Baruch Hu LiYisrael. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Paisel, Im shafartem ma'aseichem, if you improve your actions, Hareini natzrachem k'shofar hazeh, I will be for you like a shofar. Why? Ma shofar zeh machnis bezu moitzi bezu, just like shofar. You blow in one end and the sound comes out the other end. Kach, so also, ani oimed mikisei adin v'yoshev al kisei arachamim v'ochlachem midas din l'midas arachamim. So also, I'll get up from the seat of judgment and I'll sit on the seat of mercy and turn the midah of din into the midah of mercy. Shofar, you blow in here and it comes out here. So also, I'll get up from the kisei adin and sit on the kisei arachamim. Does the analogy make sense? None whatsoever. Because the pshat is like, shofar, okay, you blow in one end, comes out, it's a continuation, right? From where you blow and where it comes out. It's one continuation. Seemingly, the kisei adin and the kisei arachim are two opposites. The two opposite sides of the scale. So now I'm weighting down this side of the scale. So I'm going to get off here and sit on the opposite side. It's not a continuation. It's not like a blow, right? And yet the Medrash said it's like a blow. You blow in one and go out. Yeah, I get up from the kids. It's not similar. Over here it's a seesaw. It's a seesaw. So you get off and you go around. You sit on the other side of the seesaw. A shofar is not a seesaw. It's a continuation. But seemingly midas hadin versus the midas harachim is a seesaw. So why does the Medrash compare it to blowing through a shofar? Machnis bezu, motzi bezu, that's to get up from the kisei adin and sit on the kisei arachamim. The truth is like this. There's a lashon in the tefillah that needs explanation. In the tefillah Yom Noraim, you constantly find the concept of omek adin, the depth of din. Legala amukos badin. Adon imtemate omekadin, just to give two examples. You'll always find the term deep, together with din. Right? And Chazal also say that Rabbi Nosson Dayonahu v'nochis le'umka the dina. Gemara says that Rabbi Nosson was an expert dayan. He goes to the depths of din. What's deep about din? Din is simple. It's cause and effect. You do this, you get this. You do this, you get this. Simple cause and effect. What's deep about that? Deep is like there's something beneath the surface. Then it's linear. Do this, you get this. Do this, you get this. It's cause and effect. It may be extensive. It may be complicated. Why should it be called deep? Din is like this. The dimension of depth, right, the third dimension of depth. Right? What does it measure? It measures in versus out. Right? Length measures up, down. Width measures right versus left. Right? Depth measures in, out. When we talk about depth, we talk about that there's an inside and there's an outside. Right. In the Bria, right, in reality that we live in, right, there's a depth that can't be seen. There's an inside and an outside. I'll give you an example. Right, and it happens to do with this year. Right, Shabbos this year, Rosh Hashanah comes out. First day of Rosh Hashanah comes out on Shabbos. So we say, Shabbos is a special gift God gave the Jewish people. The Goyim, they don't have Shabbos. What do you mean? It's Saturday. What, they don't have Saturday? Right. The answer is that there's two chambers on Saturday. There's an in and an out. The in is Shabbos. But on the outside of that chamber, it's just Saturday. There's an inside and there's an outside. I'll give you another example. Right. Before a person is in learning, involved in learning, right, there's all types of questions. Emunah questions, philosophical questions, all types of life questions. And when a person is in learning, these questions don't bother him anymore. I hope everyone's had that experience. Right? You're in learning. Even though you're just in learning, right, and you didn't learn something that answered all those questions, right, for some reason those questions don't bother you. Right? When the learning's going good. Those questions only bothered you because you were on the outside. When you got inside of Torah, those questions don't reach. So even though you don't have consciously the answer to those things that bother you, right, they disappear when you're in learning. The child is that these questions don't reach there. Right? The flesh eyes can't measure the fact that there's something called in and out in the Bria. In meaning in with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in with the Torah. Out is that you're outside of it. Right, the Gemara says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu cries, and yet the Gemara asks the stira, God is always happy in His place. And the Gemara answers the stira, Hababati Gavoy, Hababati Baroi. Makes it an inner chamber, outer chamber. In the inner chamber he cries. In the outer chamber he's happy. There are inner chambers in reality and there are outer chambers. Truth is, that's the secret of Torah, is divided up into two Torahs. Torah Shebechsav and Torah Sheba'al Peh. The Torah Shebechsav is the Torah of the outer chamber, and the Torah Sheba'al Peh, right? Torah Sheba'al Peh is the Torah of the inner chamber. Right? Don't we say that the Torah Sheba'al Peh is the depth of Torah Shebechsav? Torah Sheba'al Peh tells you what's between the lines, what's between the psukim of Torah Shebechsav. Right, the depth of the Torah is in the Torah Sheba'al Peh. The Torah Sheba'al Peh is the inner chamber. The Torah Shebechsav is the outer chamber. What do we mean by all this? I just gave examples before I explained the principle. Just like in a person, as the Chovos HaLevavos mentions in his monumental introduction to the whole book. His principle of there is that man has two worlds. He has his inner world and he has his outer world. And he talks about it in halachic terms. Chovas ha'ivarim versus Chovos HaLevavos. The duty, what you have to do with your limbs, versus the duty of what you have to do with your mind and heart. And he complains that until his time, all the Gaonim, they wrote books, halacha books of Chovas ha'ivarim, what to do with your arms, what to do with your legs. No one wrote a halacha sefer of what to do with your mind, what to do with your heart, what you believe, what should be your ideals, what should be your values. Man's inner world. Man's outer world are his limbs, his arms, his legs, and there are halachas how to use them. But man has an inner world, his mind, his heart, and what he should think, what he should value, what he should believe in, what he should hold true to, what he should be willing to die for. That's all in the mind, in the heart. Just like it's that way in the person, it's that way in reality itself. There's the mind of reality, and then there's the organs of reality. The mind of reality is the plan that the Ribono Shel Olam has. God, He has a purpose in creation. He created the world for a reason. He created the world to be kings. He created the world that the world should be populated by people who make it to Olam Haba. He has a plan. Right? That's called the inner chamber of the world. The outer chamber of the world, as it were, the limbs of the world, right? The arms and legs of reality, those are the actual creatures following the plan, hopefully, just like the arms and legs should follow the commands of the mind. Chazal say, Ola b'machshava li boros b'midas hadin, Rosh she'eno miskayim omad v'shitiv mo midas harachamim. The Ribono Shel Olam contemplated creating the world with din. Right? And he saw that the world won't last. He added rachamim. The thought for the world, the plan for the world, the mind of the world, the thought of the world, that's din. But the actual emergence of the world, that the world came out from potential to actual, that was done with rachamim. There's an amazing Tosfos in Rosh, I forget which daf. Anyone who needs to see it inside, I'll find it for them. An amazing Tosfos. Says, the Gemara says, the Machlokes, Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Yeshua, was the world created in Nisan, that's Rabbi Yeshua says, right? And Rabbi Elazar was created in Tishrei. So says Tosfos, Elu Beil Divrei Elokim Chaim. Right? The world was Nivra b'machshava. The world was created in thought in Tishrei, and created b'maisa in Nisan. The world was created in thought in Tishrei. Right? And Lamaisa and Nisan. So put two and two together, that's why Tishrei is a time of din. It's when the world was created b'machshava, and Ola b'machshava, liboros b'midas hadin. The world came into actual being in Nisan, and that's why also every year, during Tishrei it's the fall. Nothing's really physically growing. Right? But Nisan is the time when the world goes from potential actual. New things grow. The spring. Right? That way every year. Just like the world went into actual being in Nisan, so also every year. Nisan's when there's a renewal of the actuality of the world. But the thought for the world, what should grow come spring, the plan for what should grow during spring, that's made in Tishrei every year. Plan is din. Ola b'machshava is an activity of din. Right? Because I'm drawing guidelines. I'm making a plan. Right? And a plan means it's going to be like this and like this and like this. And first this and only then this. That's all din. A plan is din. You're setting up guidelines. But actuality requires rachamim. To go from planning to the actual, you have to add rachamim. Right? You need flexibility. Mercy and flexibility, because rarely do things really go strictly according to plan. But without a plan, you don't have anything. Without a plan, you don't have anything. Yeah, you have to add flexibility, but if you don't have a plan, so from where should anything get started? The Rebbe Shem didn't change his mind and say din is a mistake. All of the machshava doesn't. When the Rebbe Shem made a plan for the universe, to make a plan that there's a purpose in life, and I want the world to run such and such, and the nature of reality is that I am its king. That has to be done within, because you're setting up guidelines, you're setting up a plan. A plan has to be within. You say it could be like this, but it could also be like this, but it doesn't really have to be like this. So you got nothing. That's called chaos. You can't have flexibility in a plan, because then the plan's not tight, not rigorous. Right? Lacking structure. The flexibility is, in carrying out the plan. Allow a little bit of flexibility. But the plan itself has to be watertight. To be din. Allah b'machshava liboros b'midas hadin. The Rebbe Shem with the midah of din made a plan for the world. And he didn't change that plan just to make the world go from potential. Actually, he added rachamim because you need a little flexibility. Right. But the plan is a plan. Without a plan, you don't have anything. Without a plan means you're lacking the whole concept. So what's it going to be based on if you don't have a plan? Right? What's it going to be based on if you don't have a plan? The Olav Machshava Libos Midin, that's the inner chamber of reality. That's the plan. That's the mind of reality. And the mind of reality is being renewed every year. We write out a new plan in the Sifrei Chaim and the Sifrei Mason. That's the plan for the year. That's the mind of the year. That's the heart of the year. Take a beautiful example from the human form. Right. Conception. Right. And I think even in English it's from the Lashon of concept. But in Lashon HaKodesh it's hiroyon, miloshin hirhur. Right? Thought. Because at the moment of conception, anyone who's studied a little bit of genetics will tell you that in thought, the whole life is there. The whole GMAP, what he's going to look like when he's 70, and at what age his arteries are going to harden and everything, It's all mapped out already. The plan is all there at the time of conception. Right. But of course, the plan alone doesn't make a life. It has to develop. So that plan can't become an actual person unless it sits in the rechem. In the rechem, the womb is called the rechem. Miloshin rachamim. Right? It needs at least 7 months, Chazal say. At least 7. Tishrei, Cheshvan, Kislev, Teves, Shvat, Adar, Nisan. The whole 7 months is the side Shitif Imo Midas Harachim. That's what the Rechem adds. And the universe is born, and physically born. Planned out by conception is Rosh Hashanah. Physically born on Pesach. That's the Rechem, adds the Shita Midas Harachim Ubra. Bring it from the potential, from the plan to the actual. And that's what we say in the Rosh Hashanah, Hayom Haras Olam. Haras Olam is the pregnancy of the world, conception of the world, the concept of the world, Hirhur, the thought of the world. Hiroim Lashon Hirhur. And just like in conception is in, and the Shitim Yisrachim is allowed goes out. of reality. It's the internal world of reality. It's the mind and heart of reality. It's the inner chamber of reality. The adding of Racham is to allow that inner chamber to emerge. Chazal say in many places that Klal Yisrael says to the Ribbon Shalom, Ribbon Shalom, Galui v'yadu f'necha sheritzonenu la'asais ritzoncha umi ma'akev tzor shebe'isa v'shibud malchus. Ribbon Shalom, you know, we only want to do what you want to do. Meaning our mind and heart is with you. Just the Yetzer Hara and the influence of the Golus, that's what gets in the way. If our mind and heart is always with him. Right? Just, the body doesn't always follow along. The Yetzer Hara gets in the way, and the way we use our arms and legs doesn't follow where our heart is. Hopefully. Right? Hopefully our heart's there. The Yom Tov of Rosh Hashanah, Nora Noros. Gemara says in Rosh Hashanah, if I'm not mistaken, Daf Chav Ches, an interesting halacha. Right? The shofar can't have gold on it. Why? Because Ein Kateger Nasa Saneger. The shofar is there to protect us, and there's the prosecution that we've made the golden calf way back when. Right? So the Gemara asks the Kasha, but wait a minute, the Kohen Gadol, he does all his avodah with the big days of. Right? Why? He does all the avodah in the mikdash in gold clothes. And the only one time a year that he can't wear gold is when he goes into the Kodesh HaKadoshim, L'tnai v'L'tnim. So there already, he wears white, as we well know. So you see that the problem of Ein Kateger Na'aseh Saneger is only inside the Kodesh HaKadoshim. So the Gemara answers, Shofar Kevan de Zikaron Ka'asi Kilifnim Dami. Since the shofar comes to remind the Ribbon Shalom about us, since it comes from memory, it's like inside. It's like in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Neira. The message of the Gemara is, and that's the secret of why Rosh Hashanah is called Yom HaZikaron also. Zichronos, we have to connect with the Ribbon Shalom's mind. What does it mean to remember something? You have it in your mind. You have it in your mind. That's a memory. We have to find our place in the Ribbon Shalom's mind on Rosh Hashanah. We have to find our place in the Olah b'machshava libaros b'midas hadin. We have to find our place there. In the Ribbon Shalom's machshava of midas hadin, the mind of the universe, and that's the inner world, and that's why it's kilifnim dami, says the Gemara. Since it's zikaron, it's inside, because the mind is the inner world. We have to find our place there. We have to justify ourselves that we're living up to the plan. It's not a time to say sorry on Rosh Hashanah. I mean, that's not yet what to do with your arms and legs and your mouth. It's not a time in Maisa yet to say sorry. It's like the Maharal explains in the Sivat Shuvah. I say, come here. I want to tell you something. Come closer. Right? He decked the guy. He said, sorry. You're going to forgive him. You're going to forgive him. You'd be an idiot if you forgave him. Right? The Maharal explains. Because he meant it. Now, he told you to come closer. Sorry is only shaykh to say, I didn't mean it. Then it's shaykh to say sorry. You didn't mean it. And the dynamics of why you're mochel anyone, because you realize his mind and heart wasn't in it. It was a mistake. Sometimes it's A mistake could be on many levels. It could be like shogeg. So for sure, if a guy bumped into you by accident, you'd be an idiot to be angry at him in the first place. But there's a thing that you realize was a mistake, that he wasn't thinking clearly. He got angry and he lost focus. But always to forgive is the pshat that you realize he didn't really mean it. Or at least fully mean it. He got confused. He got angry. He lost it. If he truly meant it, and with Yishuv Hadas, punched you in the face, of course you don't forgive him. Because his whole mind and heart was in it. To say sorry. And likewise, to be zocher to mechila, the legitimacy of that is, my mind wasn't it. Ribono Shel Olam, it's true. I did wrong with my arms and my legs. But you know what? I don't hold by it. I didn't do it b'shita. I didn't really mean it. Even though I did it b'mezid, but even though I did it, meaning I knew what I was doing, but I didn't really believe it was the right thing to do. I was confused when I did it. My mind and heart wasn't really in it. There's no basis to say, I'm sorry, until you clarify that your mind and heart is with the Ribono Shel Olam's mind, meaning the mind that he has in the Bria. What do I want? I want whatever he wants. Period. And once you establish that, now there's a basis to do tshuva. How can you do tshuva if you really meant it and you enjoyed it and you wanted to do it? How can you say sorry? If that's what you really wanted, by what right do you say sorry? Rosh Hashanah, the time of Din, it's a time that in our mind and in our hearts, we merge our inner world with the inner world of reality itself. We merge ourselves together with the Midas Hadin. And we accept the Ribono Shel Olam as king, and Ribono Shel Olam, whatever you want, that's what we want, and we don't want anything else. It's a time to reestablish your values. It's a time to rebuild your inner world, your world of ideas, your world of values, to make it in sync with what the Ribono Shel Olam wants. We have to equate our inner world with the inner level of reality. So just like the Midas Hadin of reality itself, God created the world with din. What, to destroy the world? No, as a basis for the world. Because you need a plan. Right? Before you make anything, you have to start with a plan. Right? And a plan is din. You have to make rules. It's going to look like this and not like that. It's going to work like this and not in a different way, and this is the way it has to work. Right? The din itself wants to be added to the rachamim, because the din is a plan, right? And the plan wants to be actualized, because otherwise what do you make a plan for if you're not going to do anything with it? The din itself wants to be added to the rachamim, right? Right? The concept wants to become actual. Right? Otherwise, what did you think of the concept for? If not that, it's a plan to produce something that should become something. The din wants to be added to rachamim. When a person equates himself with the din of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? So automatically the Ribono Shel Olam pushes for rachamim, because you fit into the plan. You say that the way you want to live your life, your plan for yourself, is the same plan that God had for you, is the same plan that God has for reality. So now you deserve rachamim, because the din itself pushes towards rachamim. That's only if you face the din and you equate yourself with the din. So then the din itself pushes towards rachamim. The din is the plan, the mind, the inner. And the inner will push for rachamim that it should emerge. You want to know what the difference is between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur? Rosh Hashanah is all in thought. It's all in thought. Yom Kippur is when that thought breaks out and reaches the body also. In the words of the Gemara, paraphrasing the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah we quoted, on Rosh Hashanah with our minds we enter the inner chamber of reality. Right? Kevan do zikaron ka'asi kilifnim dami. On Yom Kippur, the Kohen Gadol, as a shliach of all Christ, takes the body in also. Because once we've set our minds straight, we set our values straight, so now it's time to now bring the limbs in also. Now that we set the plan straight, we set our minds straight, now it's time to get the body to come along. And that's what we do during the Aseret Yemei Rosh Hashanah. We rebuild our values. We rebuild our values. We rebuild our internal world. And then now that we rebuild it on Rosh Hashanah, so now it's time to now make the organs, the outer world, conform to our renewed inner world. And that's the whole process, Aseret Yemei Tshuva. So now that I've established that I want whatever God wants, and all the bad things that I chose, I didn't really mean that. That wasn't the real me. So now there's a basis to say I'm sorry, and now to start fixing the organs. I fixed the mind, now I can start fixing the organs. Yom Kippur, you take your organs in Lifnai V'Lifnim also. Rosh Hashanah, we go there in our minds. On Yom Kippur, the Kohen Gadol, as a shliach of all Christ, takes the whole body in also. We have to first be metak in the mind, and then you can talk about the body following. And then there's a basis to do tshuva, to say I'm sorry and bring the body in also. Bring the outer world in also. Shofar. Right, the Rosh says he'll be like the shofar. They understand what Chazal say. Machnis bezu umotzi bezu. You bring in and out. In, out. Right. In, the midas hadin. Out, midas harachamim. Like we explained. Ron says, you blow shofar. That the pshat in the shofar is, it's a way for us to get into the Rebbe Shem's inner chamber. And that's what the Shloach Kodesh says. Right? The Shloach Kodesh says, during the blowing of the shofar, that's when you're thinking tshuva. And you're thinking, I'm sorry, but it's all in thought. It's not time yet to do it in action. It's not time to be measurable on the outside yet. Because to be real, you have to first do it in your heart and set your heart straight. And shofar represents, says the Zohar, pure thought. It's pure sound, it's not even words. It's not even words, it's above words. Says the Zohar Kodesh, shofar is a type of tefillah that's beyond words. It's like pure thought. As the sound of the shofar is going up, that represents our elevating our minds and hearts to the Rebbe Shem. Rebbe Shem, we want to live by your plan. We just want to be your subjects and we don't want anything else. And once you set that value straight, you have a basis to say sorry. And says Rebbe Shem, just like you blow a shofar to me, it's like I blow a shofar to you. In, out. In midas hadin. The midas is the inner chamber of reality. It's the mind of reality. But out is midas harachamim. And now we understand the medrash, the beauty of medrash. Blow in, out, kisei adin, in, and rachamim, out. Because the midas hadin wants to turn into rachamim. It wants to turn into rachamim. Because the midas hadin was the foundation of existence. It wants to turn into rachamim. And it will turn into rachamim for anyone who will make himself congruent with it. Make yourself congruent with the Rebbe Shem, what the Rebbe Shem wants from you. Say, I want what the Rebbe Shem wants. Make yourself congregant. Right? Synthesize up with his din, he'll turn it into rachamim. Because that's what the din is for. The din is there to be turned into rachamim. But you got to be a player in that plan. If you're part of that plan, he moves it all into Rachamim to make it all actual. For Rosh Hashanah, we have to be part of that plan. And that's why on the outer chamber of Rosh Hashanah, there's still this dichotomy between in and out. The outer chamber is all Rachamim. And that's the secret on Rosh Hashanah. On the outside, it's a Yom Tov. Everyone's dressed up. Everyone's eating. That's all on the outer chamber. He's always happy. That's on the outside. Because the outside, the outer chamber is all Rachamim. But L'Zikaron, right, what we're doing with our hearts, like the inner world, in thought, what we're thinking during the blowing of shofar, we're going with Nim, we go inside, whereas the Midas Hadin. And that's why the post can say, don't cry in your eyes, cry in your heart. But on Rosh Hashanah, there's still a dichotomy between the inner chamber and the outer. On Yom Kippur we close. We even bring the outer world in. That's the Kohen Gadol taking his organs into the Kodesh HaKadoshim. But on Rosh Hashanah we're not there yet. We don't have yet a basis to bring our organs in, because we have to first set the mind straight. So still on the outside it's Yom Tov. And that's why I'm supposed to say it's usher to cry. You don't cry in your eyes. You cry in your heart. You don't say sorry with your mouth, but you do say sorry in your heart. The Avon Rosh Hashanah is to set the heart straight. Get your values straight, and then your tshuva is a real tshuva. If you haven't changed your values, you say, man, that was great. You know, the Aver that you did, your tshuva is nothing. Rosh Hashanah starts the Aseret Yemei Tshuva, set the values straight, set the mind straight, set the heart straight. And now you have the right to say sorry, because I didn't really mean it, because my heart wasn't really in it. My mind wasn't really in it. And that way Rosh Hashanah is the first day of Aseret Yemei Tshuva, because when you set the heart straight, now it's legitimate to say sorry. And now you can start working on the limbs, because the limbs have a clean heart to connect to. And that's the avodah of shofar. Time shofar, sending our minds and hearts, pure thought, connecting it to synthesize it with his thought, that we accept his din and we want to live by his din. You say you want to live by his din, the din itself decrees that you should have rachamim. Oh, you're with the plan, you're with the program. So let's make the program actual. If you're with the program, so let's make the program actual. So the program itself demands that you have rachamim. We have to get with the program. Go in to the din, so out will come rachamim. Machnis bezu, motzi bezu, in, out. So Rosh also goes from din to rachamim. And that's the secret of the dichotomy. Why the Yom Hadin of Rosh Hashanah is purely in Torah Sheba'al Peh, in the inner chamber of Torah. It's not yet on the outer chamber. And the whole avodah is avodas pnim. The avodah of setting the mind and heart straight. That's why it's all in Torah Sheba'al Peh. It's all in the inner chamber. The whole avodah of facing the din. The Torah Shebachsav that's connected the outer chamber doesn't mention it, because it's connected Shitit Momidas Arachana. And that's why we have to go through Rosh Hashanah before Yom Kippur. You have to get your mind and heart straight. Synthesize it with what the Rebbeinu Shalom's thoughts are. Synthesize your thoughts with what his thoughts are, and then, only then, you can say you're sorry.